Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Frameworks Airstack Workshop, Airstack Frames Development. Joining us today is Jason Goldberg and Yoseph Kurnia Soenggoro, who will be taking us through this session. And with that, I'll pass it over to Jason and Yoseph to get the session started.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Hi, I'm Jason, Beta Shop Onchain, and I'm here with Yoseph, who leads DevRel for Airstack. And we're thrilled to work with everyone on building awesome frames. First thing to say is we have a Telegram chat. It's our Telegram dev chat. It's about 1,000 people in it right now, growing every day. We'll answer any questions you have there. We'll make sure there's a link to the Telegram dev chat here in the Zoom and in the YouTube, and it's also on the global site. If you have any question for Airstack at any time, you can always ask it there. Also, we have a very active channel on Farcaster, on Warpcast, and you can ask us questions there as well. Our whole team of 30 will be monitoring and helping you with your hacks. Couple things, I want to just do a couple real quick intro, show a couple things, and then Yosef's going to really run the workshop here. If you're not familiar with Airstack, I just want to show everyone that Airstack, we provide on-chain composability APIs. And one of our specialties is Farcaster and Frames. So the easiest way to build on Farcaster, Yosef's going to walk you through the various ways that you can build with Airstack Frames SDK, with our Frog middleware and recipes. We have a very extensive on-chain kit. You can integrate pretty much anything on-chain into a frame. So whether it's trending tokens, trending mints, token balances, token transfers, POAPs, Base, Zora, whatever it might be. We also have a whole other bunch of tools you can use that have been built by Airstack team. A frames validator. We have a CAPTCHA SDK. We have a whole bunch of no-code frames even, so you can see how easy it is to create a frame without using any code. How to create an allow list for your frames. A whole bunch of things you can do. And then if you go to our website, you'll also see all the besides Farcaster, all of the APIs that Airstack encompasses enable you to compose. You'll see there's XMTP, there's Lens. So if you're building with open frames and you want to launch something XMTP, we're here to work with you on that, also with ENS. And so we're a full resource for anything that you're building with frames. And then just the last thing I want to show you is we also build some kick-ass frames. And so if you need any helps or thoughts or brainstorms with your experience, we're here to help as well. Just to show you, for instance, I'm now going on Farcaster. This is a frame that we launched a couple of days ago that enables you to see trending tokens from Airstack's API inside of a frame. And so here I'm going to see what tokens are trending on Farcaster, amongst Farcaster users right now. And I can browse through them. I can say, all right, let's go and actually buy some degen in the frame. So I'm going to buy right now. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to click on that. I'm actually going to buy 100 degen right now in the frame. Give me 1 second while I do that. Okay. Okay, so I'm now buying 100 degen in this frame. And this transaction is now, and you can see also some of the UX tricks that we've played because of limitations of frames. You can see I just bought 100 degen. And I can also see how we built in things like how to make it very easy to share frames as well with a click of a button. So if you go to my profile on Farcaster, you'll see a whole bunch of things that we've done with frames. We have about 7 different frames that we've launched. You can also see in there we have an AI frame, which I'll show you real quick, and then I'll turn it over to Yoseph here. We have an AI frame, and I'm showing this also because it uses Airstack's APIs and our AI, but it also has a whole bunch of UI tricks that you might want to pay attention to ease the use of a frame. So for instance, this is the AI. We built this CAPTCHA, and this helps protect you from having bots coming in and flooding your frame. I will then ask a question to the AI, and you can see how we've used GIFs as a way to improve the experience. So I'm going to say, show my degen balance, and the frame will answer the question. And you see we built in a little bit of a loader here just to allow the AI to be able to process the information. And I will see, there's the amount of degen that I have. Okay, so let me hand over to Yosef, who is going to do a workshop now. That was just to give you a little taste of what's possible.
Thanks, Jason. All right, let me, oops, sorry, share my So I can. So let me give you guys a really quick overview of like the offerings that Jason just showed relating to frames. We're essentially like the easiest tool and provide extensive tooling for you to build frames and integrate like on-chain data seamlessly into your frames as well. So some of the products that I want to highlight are including like the Frames SDK, the Frog middleware, and also the Frog recipe. And by the way, like these are all the on-chain data that we get are fetched from our composable APIs, which are essentially the easiest API for you to fetch on-chain, off-chain, cross-chain, cross-step data across the Ethereum ecosystem. So yeah, so first, like for the Airstack Frames SDK, it's by the way like an NPM library. It's a collection of functions that help you fetch like on-chain data, create an allow list, validate frames messages, and uh, integrate capture functionality into your frame. So essentially like all the basic functionality that you need to build frames. And with the Frames SDK, essentially you can integrate with any Node.js runtime that you build, whether you're building frames with basic Node.js or Next.js, maybe like you're using other toolings such as like Onchain Kit or Frame.js, you can essentially like use it complementarily with the Airstack Frames SDK. On the other hand, if you're using Frog framework, we also have like the Airstack Frog middleware, which enables you to easily like inject like the Airstack Onchain Kit, which enables you to fetch on-chain data from our API into your frames within just like a single line of code, and also create allow list based on various types of criteria, whether it's like you require a user to hold certain types of tokens or attended certain POAPs, you name it, we can do it using this middleware. But maybe like you want something more extensive. So maybe like you want the best of both worlds from Frog and Airstack Frames SDK. So for that, we provide you with what's called like the Airstack Frog recipes. And this is like a library on its own at Airstack/Frog. And essentially it's a framework built on top of Frog with Airstack flavor on it. So essentially all the functionality from Frog and all the functionality from the Airstack Frames SDK all combined to one, so that you can like build your frames very easily and integrate a lot of like advanced functionality that I just mentioned right here easily. And of course with advanced developer experience from Frog as well to help you build frames quickly. So that's a really quick overview right here. So let's really quickly go to the real thing right here. So first, let's go to our API to just explore like what kind of data that you can fetch. So there's a lot of like data in here like that you can get from our API. I do recommend that you generally like dig deeper into our API references to know each details of what the API's use cases are for. But essentially, like it helps you fetch like various types of on-chain data, off-chain data. So like from Farcaster, token balances, token transfers, Farcaster channels, social followings, social followers, and also we do composability with other social profiles such as ENS, XMTP, and Lens as well. Other than that, we also provide like abstract, abstracted APIs, which abstract away all the complexity, such as like providing recommendations, such as like trending mints and trending tokens in here. We're working on other trending APIs, but that's the gist of it. So when you work with our API to fetch data for your frames, essentially like you'll need to use our GraphQL API in here to do that. But for first time, you don't really need to do it by yourself because we have an AI right here to help you do it. So in here, essentially like you can create complex natural language so that like you don't need to do the hard work, let the AI do the query for you, and you just can copy paste the query that easily. So for example, show me the holders of Farcaster V3 NFT right here that also attended FarCon. So this one is going to be a POAP from ETH Denver. And show me their address, Farcaster, ENS, and XMTP. So for example, something a complex query like this. So essentially, like it's very complex because like first you need to fetch data from various sources. For example, like the Farcaster V3, we need to fetch from base. The POAPs we need to fetch from Genosis, and then we need to fetch a bunch of data as well to from like the address, the ENS from Ethereum, and then like Farcaster off-chain, and also which is from the hubs, and also like Optimism, XMTP is fully off-chain, and then like aggregate them all into one. So there you go. Like just as simple as that, the AI will generate the query for you, and you get all the results like this, and you can simply plug it and play it directly into your application. But what if like maybe like you want a custom what's that a custom query that you might need more complexity, and you might need to build it on your own. So here, let me teach you a bit on how to really build like a query on your own, because like it's actually not very easy. You just need to sort of know which API you're looking for, and then just click on which inputs and outputs that you are selecting, because like, and generally like it's very intuitive from the names right here. So should be very easy. For example, like I want to build a query for like fetching the trending mints for the last 1 hour for Farcaster user. So as you see right here, we have like the trending mints API right here. And then here we just need to specify the inputs, and after this, the outputs. So for the inputs, we just need to define like some of the required inputs right here, which are labeled by the stars. So for example, the audience, we want it to be Farcaster for blockchains on base. Currently, we only support on base. For criteria, it depends on how do we want to evaluate whether the tokens minted are trending or not, based on the number of unique wallets or the number of total mints, depending up to you. So in this case, let's just choose unique wallets. And for the time frame, we have time frame for from 1 hour, 2 hours, up to the longest, which is 7 days or 1 week. So in this case, let's choose 8 hours, for example. So this is the input, and we're essentially halfway there. So for the output, we just need to click on this one, and then select the field that we want to receive as an output. So for example, I want to get the address of the trending token mints, and then I want to get the criteria count, which means like in this case, because the criteria is the unique wallet, so the count is going to be the number of unique wallets. On the other hand, if I choose total mints, then the criteria count is going to be like the number of total mints on that token during that last 8 hour. And from there, I'm going to choose time from and time to, just to see like when was the first min and when was the last min during the last 8 hours. And then, of course, I can also fetch more details from the token, such as images, metadata, and other stuff. But in this case, I'm just going to fetch like very simple things for demonstration purpose, name and symbol. Once we have all the inputs ready, or maybe like can add this one as well, which is ERC1155 token ID. So if it's a 1155, it's going to show as well which token ID is trending. Once we have the query ready, essentially like this is it. You just build a query with Airstack, and yeah, just as easy as that. So run it on the playground in here, and then there you go. Like you get all the results very easily, very quick, just like that. And then you can, yeah, put it in your frames and call it to fetch the same data directly into your frames. However, sometimes like you don't really need to construct these queries on your own directly, because like we do already have what we call like the Airstack Frames SDK. And one part of the Airstack Frames SDK, as I mentioned, is the Airstack Onchain Kit, which allows you to a collection of functions that allow you to fetch like all this on-chain data directly into your frames very easily. So for example, I want to get the trending mints of for Farcaster users, like what we did just now. So in this case, I already have like an option in here, so I can just click. This is, by the way, in our docs, which is docs.airstack.xyz, and you can find it under our Farcaster guide right here. So, and there's a bunch of other queries that you can look into. So from here, I can click into this, the get trending mints, and then All right, it takes a while. But yeah, from here, as you see, this is all the code from the Frames SDK, and essentially like the Frames SDK make it very easy for you to integrate this without like really knowing the how the GraphQL works or how to handle a GraphQL by your own and etc. You just need to call like this one line of code, mainly this one with like the inputs in here. And then like you already get the result from the console log.data. And the data essentially will look pretty much the same, have the same data structure as what we have from what we did from the API Studio. And this is just one of the use cases. We also cover a lot more other use cases for fetching on-chain data, as you can see right here, from fetching Farcaster user details, user follower following, and then like resolving Solana address, getting Farcaster channel details, participants, channel, everything related to channels, and then like the hosts of the channels, POAPs, token balances, token transfer. We have a lot of it. So you just need to choose one of it. And essentially you can use like the Airstack Frames SDK to call all the functionality that we offer right here. So by the way, like if you want to check the SDK reference for the Airstack Frames SDK, we also have it at airstack/frames. And if you want to install it, just npm install airstack at airstack/frames. And here you can see like the full reference on all the inputs, all the outputs, more description on like the details of it. So, okay. Yeah, so these are like the function that you can fetch. Other than that, I mentioned as well, like you can create an allow list using the Airstack Frames SDK. And that's where like these functions below here, the like check functions, the functions that start with check allows you to do that. So like, for example, before allowing someone to access a frame, you can ask them to check whether they attended certain POAPs, check whether they hold certain tokens, so sort of like token gating, check whether like they minted certain tokens or like following or followed by a certain Farcaster user. So, and other than that, you can also like create and combine each of these like criteria into like this one single giant create allow list function right here. So these are just like very similar to what we have just now, but like it's going to combine all the criteria that we had just now. Yeah. Oh, let me check the question really quickly right here. Is the API GraphQL only? Apollo is making it not easy to get started when you use the latest React plus SSR Next.js or Remix. Currently, it's GraphQL only. We do have React SDKs and also Node.js SDK, or like you can use the was it Frame SDK directly? I guess like it depends whether you wanna use it on the front end. But I suppose if you wanna use it on React, then I believe like for SSR, if I'm not wrong, depending on the version of the Next that you're using, for the page router one, I believe like you can use the React SDK, but uh the app router one, you might need to use the Node.js SDK one. So yeah, that's like the gist of it. Other than that, like lastly, like if you're using like Frog and Airstack at the same time, we have like the Airstack Frog recipes, as I mentioned, and also the middleware where you can inject data in there. So in here, you can essentially like very easily like fetch like on-chain data. So essentially like all the functionality that I just shown from the Airstack Frames SDK, you can easily like import it in the Airstack Frog recipe. So in this case, like we have several features that's available. For example, like the on-chain data, which essentially like all the list of functions that I just showed you just now. And then also like for Farcaster hubs, it's much easier as well because like we already configured it so that it's gonna use Airstack hubs as default, so you don't need to do further configuration on top of it. For allow list, we have several functions that I just show you, and you just need to import it directly. And then lastly is the Frog middleware right here, which, as I mentioned, is going to be, there's two that we have integrate right now, which is like the on-chain data middleware and the allow list middleware. So in this case, for the on-chain data middleware right here, you can essentially like define what kind of features, what kind of data that you want for the interactor. So for example, like you want to know who are interacting with this user, and you want to fetch like the Farcaster user details, the ERC20 mints, NFT mints, balances, NFT balance, and POAPs, then you can easily do that with this. So just define all the criteria and the inputs that you need for the on-chain data. And then from there, you just need to insert it into the frog frame, just like that in the middle as its middleware. And yeah, from there, you can access data from c.var right here, which is available. And the same thing also to do with the allow list right here. You just need to define several criteria on what you want. For example, like the event IDs or tokens. For example, like you want to check whether like the user attended this event IDs and like this have hold this tokens on Zora, then you can define this middleware allow list and then insert it into the into the frog route as well directly right there, just as easily as that, just one line of code, and you're essentially done. And this is available both on the Frames SDK and also on the Frog middleware. Frog middleware. So depending on Frog recipes, I'm sorry, but depending on which one you're using, like they both work well at the same time. So, yeah, that's really briefly about it. For quick start, I recommend you to get started by checking this out, like this guide to run, to build your first frame and get started. If you have any questions, feel free to reach us out and we can help you on it. Other than that, yeah, that's it from my workshop. Hope this helps. I think we can get into Q&A section. By the way, like for Telegram dev chat, as Jason mentioned, you can follow this. You can scan this QR code right here. Otherwise, I can also, in a moment, drop the link to the Telegram group right after this. So.
Awesome. Cheers. Thank you, Yosef and Jason. Yeah, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to take yourselves off mute and ask, or type in the Zoom chat as well. And you already answered the earlier question from Sergey.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, if there are no other questions, you can always reach the Airstack team, as I mentioned, in the Telegram groups or in the partner Discord channel. Probably quicker response in the Telegram group. And actually, I will save this link too in case people are asking questions in the Discord. But yeah, if there are no other questions, thank you all for attending. And thank you, Yosef and Jason, for the great workshop and presentation. So awesome. Cheers. Glad to have you all helping out. And yeah, hackers,
everyone.
yeah, and hackers, we have more workshops later today, so stick around for that. Cheers. Bye, everybody.